mic on? How are you all? How y'all doing? Good evening. Oscar, you there? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Trying to see if Mike can get on here. If
There
not,
you go.
we're gonna do it alone. It's all good.
That's okay. We'll talk about IGL and what he's up to, and we can even talk it up. And we got some questions from last night we didn't even get finished. We didn't even bring those up, you know. So you guys got good audio, right?
Yep, I can hear you. Students, can you guys hear us?
I want to make
If,
sure. Here we
if
go.
you're logged on here, make sure. Can I get some thumbs up on the comments?
Hope you're all doing good. Been a lot of stuff to you guys lately, man. This is between public and private presentation. I think this is our fifth of the week. We've got 4 or 5 next week again. So good information. I got a lot of response. I got a lot of text messages today and messages on social media. So glad you guys are appreciating this, and we kind of dig it. So I'm going to pull something up real quick. Oscar, if you want to pull up the notes from last night on a couple of questions we didn't finish till we find Mike, we're not going to waste the time. We'll get in and start answering some questions we didn't get to do last night. How's that?
All right. They're
I
saying
know
there's
what
no
I know. I
volume on
know.
Zoom.
I know one of them. Oh, he's on Zoom. So I heard a question last night, or I saw it come up. We didn't get to address it. Is paint is paint? So let's talk about that for a second. That paint is paint. We just learned, the students, did we not, guys? Paint is not paint. It's not all the same. We had a very unusual. We had a Ram that's usually pretty nice. It's a 2010. It's older, but pretty nice paint to correct. And for some reason, there's a lot of repaint spots on this vehicle. Paint's not paint anymore. You know, you can't assume that every single paint job is going to be the same. It's going to be different. We've seen, when I was working with Tesla online, on their line is what I meant. And the same, I've been out with Jeep, I was in Porsche and Stuttgart with them at one point. And every single one of them, I asked the same question. Porsche was the one that told me this, that if you take a car that's painted on a Monday and you take a car that's painted on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, the Monday cars and the Friday cars are a little different. And we had Tesla was really struggling with that years ago. Bob Eichelberg from Flex and I went out and saw them. Oh, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago, and they had a disastrous situation on their line. And the same thing is that if you were getting a car painted on, taking delivery of a car that was painted on a Monday or a Friday, it was a different outcome. And so, paint is not paint. There's a lot of products that don't play well with some paint jobs. Some of our best performings don't. So, for what that's worth, that was one of the questions I wanted to answer we couldn't get to last night. So, we're getting a little feedback. I don't know what's going on. So, Oscar, do we find him?
Yeah, I'm texting him right now. He's having some issues real quick.
Cool. What's another question? We got any? I can pull them up too if you can't. I know you're.
Yeah, I got him right here. I got them all.
Oh, cool. But that was one of paint. Paint is not paint. Paint's completely different. Even within model ranges or even within manufacturers, sometimes is not every single manufacturer, not all BMWs aren't painted at the same plant. And so that can change. Not all Fords are painted at the same plant. So that's a lot of variance right there. Some plants are more updated and using more up-to-date paint systems, which in some cases isn't necessarily better. Cool.
I'm texting him right now, but here we can start off with this question here. What mistake should I avoid that most entrepreneurs regret later?
Spend all your money, not putting away for a rainy day. Trying to live a lifestyle you can't afford. I think that comes to my mind right away. I've done that a couple times in my career, mainly when I was younger. I'm a lot more conservative these days. I don't know if my friends and family would call me conservative when you look at some of the cars and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's one thing. I can do that these days. I should have been doing it when I was younger. I should have put money away and built the business up. And honestly, is what we were telling Jordan that's in the group. He's young, right? Should have been kept with and put the maximum amount towards my Roth and retirement accounts back when I was like I did when I was 2021, and kept that going up until today, present day. If I would have done that, I would have I would have had easily $2 million more sitting in liquid and available at my fingertips. So that was one of them. Mike, what's up, dude? How you doing, man?
Got him on.
I'm much. I
You're
was having problems.
it's okay. You know what? My wife tells me that all the time. I'm having problems, you know?
I know. I
So
know. It's
so
part of my life.
I like the background, dude. That looks
Thank
pretty
you.
nice. That looks pretty nice. So hey, let's jump right in this. So Mike, introduce yourself, and then I'm going to do a little introduction if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Mike Karlen. I'm with IGL Coatings USA, Apex USA, owner, part 50/50 owner with Dustin Jackson on both of them companies, along with I also have a fast lane detailing over in Stanley, Wisconsin, and I had Protect Wrapping, just another boat winterization and wrapping company too. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I will go through a little bit more as we go through some questions. Short and sweet right now, but you're going to find out a lot more about me as we go on tonight. So
So now it's my turn to brag. Mike's one of those great guys. He's a pillar in the industry, and I think he really tries to always do the right thing. And he's I have a lot of positive interactions with him. I think he really does care about people. I know that you guys will talk a little bit. I know Joel trusted you and Dustin a lot, right? Or you wouldn't be in the position you're in right now. I watched him come up through the ranks within the industry, and he's just always been a gentleman. And I think that's something that's pretty honorable in this day's world. There's a lot of people in that industry like that, but Mike's pretty unique, and I just always proud to call you my friend. So let's jump into this. So
I appreciate that.
when did you realize that your businesses was more than just a business, and when did you realize that it had become a mission? You know, when did that occur?
Yeah, so I kind of had a unique background. I worked corporate for about 22 years. I had 350 employees, was running a $110 million company.
Mm,
Um, during that time, I was an absentee owner of my own detail shop that I'd started just because I like cleaning cars. And it started cleaning a car, and then it turned into a business. And pretty soon I had to hire somebody to manage my shop while I was gone, because in the corporate world, I was making good money. I had good benefits and everything else. And I worked there for 22 years, and my wife, she knew I was unhappy. Like, we've seen the workforce over the last 20 years, how hard it is and difficult it is to have help, reliable help. And I felt like I was a counselor mostly. And
mm,
she's like, you should really think about doing something else.
mm.
And about that time, good old Marcus Parsley, buddy of mine, he called me up one time and he said, "Hey, how are you guys doing so many coatings?" Because we were one of the top installers for IGL, in a population of 2,000 people. You had to go 35 to 45 minutes in every direction to get over 2,000 people. And he's like, How are you guys doing so many coatings?" He said, "I have to come see you." So he came to the shop. We talked. We did a class, and it was the next week. He's like, "I want you on our team." And I said, "Well, I'd entertain it, but I don't know." And so Jeff and Joel, they threw me an offer, and I won't say anything, but like, it was basically half of what I was making. And so I was like, "There's no way I can do this." My wife's like, "You know what? For 22 years, you've busted your butt and you've done what you need to do for the family. You made smart choices, you made investments, whatever it was. You need to just do it." And so I just kind of decided at that point, I'm going to go work for IGL, be a trainer, a rep, and do whatever they needed me to do. And I did that. And it was kind of ironic because, when you work for companies, especially like Joel and Jeff built one hell of a business. Like, they did a lot of stuff and they did it right. And, but no matter what, there's always new blood. You got to listen to new blood. There's new blood that comes in. They have new ideas and that. And I was on a run with Dustin because we started doing a lot of events together, and we'd go for runs, and once in a while I'd be like, "Yeah, I wish we could do this and I wish we could do that." And he's like, "Just buy the company." And I was like, "Yeah,
Eh,
whatever, but part of me was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, if I could buy in or if I could do something at some point. And so it kind of was kind of a dream of mine. And And I truly do believe manifestation is a lot of things. It does a lot for you. Your mindset is huge. If you manifest something, there's nothing that you can't do. And I started manifesting. Dustin started manifesting, and it was just by coincidence. One day, Joel called us and Jeff, and they said, "Hey, we're ready to retire. Um, we don't want this. This is our baby. We don't want this to go to anybody. We want you to take this on." And
Hmm.
so through negotiation and friendship and everything else, we were able to make that deal happen. So that's really when, that's kind of how it became a professional mission at that point was, at the start of it was that manifestation. And,
So you mentioned something. So how, okay, you're in a small market. How did you sell? And you don't have to go into deep detail because it's a, we only have so much time, but how the heck did you sell that many coatings in that small of a market?
A lot of it was, we were the first ones in the area, one to have a high-end detail shop or a professional level detail shop. So that set us up. And back then, I really focused on Facebook because that was kind of the new thing. In fact, for a population of 2,000, I have, I think it's 5,100 followers on our business account. Um,
Wow.
I really nailed Facebook down and I advertised everything I could. And then the biggest thing is just we did everything off integrity. Like, you're in a small town, you have to, I mean, you should no matter where you're at, but we based everything off integrity. We were there for the customer. It wasn't just a quick, hey, I want 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks or whatever. And see ya, I don't want to see you anymore. It was a lot of follow up. Your best customer is a repeat customer, and they're going to go tell everybody and tell them they're going to tell everybody what you did right and what you did wrong. So, but that was a lot of it, just getting to the market first, and then just selling off integrity. And I wasn't afraid. Whatever I want, whatever came up, I was going to try it. I was going to tackle it. So.
That's awesome. So manifest, I really believe in this. Matter of fact, our team right now is working really hard. I mean, it's um Becky and Oscar are kind of in the dungeon corner of the shop. I mean, they're just, we Oscar's position's new. We're in the second week right now, and already things are just hopping. But so much of it is what we are. I shared my vision, but now all of a sudden they've got visions that I didn't vision, right? And they're working on them. And like they've done stuff like today that I didn't know they were going to do it, and it's cool, right? So tell us, how do you do that? What's a lot of people don't understand that they think it's hokey pokey. Yet, if you look at, so I love a couple of people I really, really, really adore in business and what they've done in their careers that are totally into that. And how did you go about it? What's the manifestation look like?
So, like, I start my day off every morning, and first thing I do is when I leap out of bed, and first thing I say is that this is the day that the Lord has given me. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Mm.
That's the first thing that I say. And
Mm.
and my day starts off with either like working out, and I have like some type of motivational type thing. And during that time, the only thing I can think of is how I want my day to go. Like I'm playing it over and over and over in my mind how I want that day to go. It's not always going to go that way, but I'd rather start off on a positive note and you know tell my day how it's going to go. In fact, just yesterday I had an installer call me, and he said he had the worst day ever. His employee made a $600 mistake. They were low on work and everything else, and I said, don't worry about it, man. Everything's gonna be fine. Like, and we talked for about 45 minutes. I said, I believe everything's gonna be fine. It was 5 minutes later, he texts me, he says, Mike, you wouldn't believe this. We got done with our phone call and a person came in, scheduled 2 jobs. We started talking, and then I found out he has 7 brand new tractors that he wants coated. So
Wow. That's
within
big
five
money.
minutes after our call, I just scheduled like a lot of money, and I totally believe that. I mean, you can manifest a bad day too if you want. You want to wake up grumpy and and have a horrible day, then go ahead. But There's always good in every situation. Does not matter. There's a lesson to be learned. Something happens at the shop. There's a lesson to be learned. Hey, I need to train my employees better. I need to do this, or we need to have a standard operating procedure, whatever it may be. And I think the nation just over this last week, we saw that you can take something bad and you can unleash a lion. So I truly believe in it.
I do too. And I listen to, I really adore Denzel Washington. And I think that I've heard him speak a couple times to where he talks about that a little bit. Steve Harvey talks about that a little bit. I think there's a lot of people out there that started very humbly, but just believed in themselves. And, it's some people misused it, other people did great. And I think also, you've had a great mentor, coach, and friend. I've had a great friend in Joel, and the fact that of what he's taught so many of us, right? Of just being around him. He's a great guy, Dustin, and then even yourself. And so I think when you get in those circles and you're sitting at those tables, that is sometimes like we'll come in here sometimes and it's like we are like jackrabbits on crack.
Yeah.
We got so many ideas coming through, and it's like wait.
Yes.
And that leads us into we're all I really we I think opportunity is given to us sometimes, but a lot of times we earn opportunities. So how do you identify which opportunities that you're going to pursue and which ones you kind of walk away from? Do you have have you gained a better sense or gut reaction to those?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I do is see if it lines up to my core values. And
Mm,
fortunately, my business partner Dustin and I have a lot of the same core values. In fact, it's part of our, mission statement, if you want to say. And then the next thing really is you nailed it. Like, what does your mentor say? You know, I bounce it off, whether it be Papa Joel or a few other mentors that I have had or have in my life. Is it contributing to a bigger plan? Is it just something like, hey, I'm going to do something, it's going to make me $10,000? Well, to me, I want something that's contributing to much bigger plan, whether it be it doesn't have to be just for me. It has to be for, my family, my friends, my installers, whoever it may be. It can't just be, I don't want to be selfish about it. It can't just be about myself.
it's got to work for the team.
Yeah,
Got
and
to work for the
is
greatness.
the setback, is it a setback or is it preparing for where you want to go? You know,
Yeah, I dig that.
and then does it bring, like I said, does it bring value to multiple people
I
versus
love
just
it. I love it. So you and Dustin have been on such a not new journey of growth. So tell us about kind of IGL and APEX. You mentioned kind of how Joel came to you guys and Jeff, two great guys,
Mhm.
and they brought IGL to you. But on the heels of that is here comes APEX into it. So let's talk about that venture.
It's been hard. It's been hard. You know, it, there's two things that, the one thing is we fall every day. We fail, we fall. But we fall forward and we get back up. And then the reason I say it's hard is because one, Joel and Jeff built one heck of a business. And when you bring new blood in, you have new ideas. But, unfortunately, you can't make everybody happy. We try to look at it from a detailer side because we own detail shops. So we understand like, okay, this is what works for a detailer, but also it has to work in the business plan. It can't just be a part of the business, can't be just for the detailer. It has to work both ways. So we're always looking for that. So IGL was a little bit different, having established business, like how do you bring them new ideas to the current customers and make them feel like this is for the good and not for, hey, I'm taking something away. Same thing with an employee. If you have an employee at work, like how do you implement something new? You have to get that buy-in from them. Apex was a little bit different because it's brand new to the US and we're just learning every day. It's not only brand new to the US, when I say brand new within the year, within a year or so, but it's also a new trade for us. We knew that at some point our shops needed to go towards PPF and window tint. And that's really when Papa Joel came to us and said, hey, I want you guys to be a distributor for Apex. We knew right away we're getting in on this. We're going to make it work. But we're learning new things all the time. And of course, whether there be shipping, tariffs, whatever it may be. There's just new things to learn all the time. So, even though it's sometimes it seems bad, we learn every day from each and every one of them things. So it's a blessing in disguise, you know.
Well, in the transition from going from one company to two, or from one idea to two, or from two ideas to three, whatever that growth is, an expansion, it does. It takes a lot. You got to put a lot into it, and it takes a lot out of you, right? But you've got to look at the reward side of it, and then again, it's kind of judging is it's what's this growth going to be like, and what are we going to put into it? I've always put a kind of a timeline. Is that I remember when we launched, I'm looking at Double Black right now, and I told Bob, listen, man, I'm coming off a really nice, peaceful time of my life, as I'm gonna work my booty off for 48 months, and then I'm gonna go from afterburner to cruise speed, right? And it blew up bigger than what we thought, and I had almost double that time frame into that. I wasn't prepared to. I kind of wanted to back off a little bit. And was it worth it? Well, yeah, it has been. It's been a great journey. I wouldn't trade it, but it also took a lot of work, and it took a lot of there's a lot of personal sacrifice,
Yeah.
for doing that, and you gotta be ready for those. So detours in life, is that was there any detour that happened in life or business that ended up being a good opportunity for you?
Yeah, the one that really stands out and it's more personal. Um, and Joel's a big mentor of mine, and I had another mentor that really meant a lot to me. And he was thrilled when we bought IGL. He was actually to the point he had a lot of connections. He started helping us with some of these big connections on the industrial side.
Hmm.
Um, Talking about a billionaire that I didn't have any, really, it's like you kind of look at him like, why is he even talking to me? Like, but just he wanted to help people. And about 3 months in after I bought IGL, I'd sent him, we talked every day. I'd sent him text messages and stuff, and all of a sudden I didn't get a response from him. And I was like, this is weird. So the next day, his 16-year-old son called me and he said, did you hear about Mike? His name was Mike too. I'm like, no. And he goes, he died yesterday. And it was
Oh.
literally after I texted him the day before. And it hurt, because him and I were working on a lot of things. And
Mm.
we went to a few places and things were really going on. And I don't want to say like that, the part of losing the mentor and then the part of just being lost because I'm working on the middle of like some contracts that really he was working on. So, that was probably the toughest part for me. But what it has done is every day I wake up and I'm like, what would Mike do? And it's caused me to really dig deeper each and every day. And it's really, I've also learned to really like cherish the people around you because you just
Mm.
don't know. Like they could be here today and tomorrow they could be gone. Don't take advantage of the people around you, the people you network with, your mentors, all them type of people. They're there in your life for a reason, but it may only be a season, you don't know. So
And you might, and somebody that really gives you a lot. And then I see this all the time. One of my mentors taught me this is that I asked him one time, why are you doing all this? And he says, because you know what? You're just a great person. I've really enjoyed you're hungry, you're hard work. Nobody's going to outwork you. And he said, I see a lot of you, in me when I was your age. And he said, but here's the thing is learn this one thing. Never fit when you get a coach and a mentor and somebody's putting time into you, never fish in their pond. Go build your own damn pond.
right,
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. And then not only they go fishing, the person that was giving them opportunity, but then they crap in their pond, and I just don't get it, and I know that a lot of people think, oh man, but I was helping him do this or I was helping do that. But would you have even had that opportunity to sit at that table? If I've got two mentors. I mean, I, they shouldn't even know who I am.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, do I deserve it? And one of them taught me that. So, now how old was Mike, if you don't mind me asking?
He was 56. And and the thing of it is when you find a good mentor, you got to remember, I mean, some of these mentors, they don't need you. Like you need them. They don't need
Mm-mm.
it's like what you had said. They get their thrill is making the next millionaire, making the next billionaire. That's what their thrill
Yeah.
is, knowing that they're helping somebody. He didn't need money, and that's what he told me. I don't need money. I don't need nothing. I
I
just
love,
needed my like business development. I made him, and he's like, I don't want a paycheck. I don't want nothing. We're gonna go build this thing. So
wow. Well, young people, watching this, I know, we've got some 20-something-year-olds in the 5 day right now. And I know that 56 sounds a long ways away, but you still got a 30-year journey left at that point,
yeah,
maybe even more, in this day and age. My grandma at that age at 56, she still had 30, almost 30 years left in her life. And it was really good life all the way until the end, just days or weeks out, she started having a hard time. But I mean, can you imagine if we would, I would have been, my biggest fear was losing her and her mom, and and my mom, and they're unfortunately both gone now. But I couldn't imagine losing my grandma, 30 years before we lost her. Look at all those 30 years of, so, take care of yourself. And what Mike said, get up, work out, um, do things that are going to take, and we got one young man here, Sammy, that very health conscious, keeps asking, hey, what's the consequences of this product, on you or in you? And I love that. And earlier he's like, yeah, man, sorry for asking. No, no, no. I don't want you to think that way. Everything is a danger. Think of it that way. If it's got dust, you don't breathe it, If it's
right,
on you, it's in you. I mean, all these different things, because you're gonna, God willing, you're gonna get old and you're going to age, and you're going to be what Mike was to you, and you can turn around and create those people. I love anymore. I don't even care what somebody's worth. I like seeing that the freedom that we can help them develop.
that's right.
I like seeing that the peace of mind that we can help them develop. All the car shit and all that stuff, that's one thing. But when they are, because that escaped me, is that for different reasons it escaped me, and I think it's just because I was so hyper focused on succeeding, and I had some great mentors, but my generation was mentored by the people that all they knew how to do is work their butts off.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't until later that I started meeting men that got it, that was like, no, hey, calm down, calm down. This is what's going to happen to you. And so, I like that. So let's talk about this. Let's talk to some people that, the economy, I think it's a little more challenging right now. The Feds came out, they're going to lower the interest rates. I think that's going to start helping stuff. I don't know if it's going to help right now, but it's going to definitely by spring when it really counts help. But there's people out there right now there that are kind of hurting, right? Some shops are staying extremely busy, but they're working hard for it. What would you say to somebody that needs to create massive momentum in the next 12 months? What would you focus on first?
Existing customers, the existing customer base, they already did work for you. If you did what you needed to do and made them happy, that's where I would start. I'd start making calls and saying, if you have CRMs, whatever it may be, do that touch point with them. On the IGL side, APEAK side, and I know, you're working on the same thing. Your crew is, we created a LEAP program, just trying to help detailers pivot a little bit. There's been that scare tactic in a lot of the industries that don't want the detailers to come in, and really that's not the case. We can enter into a market at very low value, low cost, and create some extra ticket prices.
Mm,
Uh, you
mm.
know,
Amen.
and then just looking at untouched markets, for like on the IGL side, we're teaching about residential. Residential is huge. And I've heard it said, and I tell the same thing, is if you get the guys, car, you get their house, you get their house, you get their jet, you get their jet, you get whatever, right? So don't forget, like, all these customers that you've done work for, they all have a house. Some of them have collector cars, whatever. So hitting that untouched market, we're teaching people to go in, the benefits of a residential type coating on a lot of different applications. And now you can go in there quick and generate some extra income, and then schedule whatever else they have. Because no matter what, and no matter where you're at, there's some people that have money, they're hurting or whatever, but there's always people that have money, and that's what it
Sure.
is getting the
You got to
people that.
find it. You
And
got
you gotta, everybody has a problem. You just have to come up with a solution to that problem.
Absolutely. And a lot of people think they got to follow the big money. It's not necessarily that. It's people that you could do a great job on a wash clay coat. You could do stuff. I mean, like you said, we want a lot of different sources of income. And so, we're having a 5 day APEX Extreme Film Week next week. 5 days, 4 days of all hands on, 1 day of business, and that's what we're teaching people is look at add these different elements into your business. And a couple of them are really simple to add in. It doesn't take the complexity that when you talk with PPF or film to do. And we're going to cover those things to where you can leave it on Monday. You leave here, you get home on Friday night or Saturday, Sunday, whenever you're going to get home, and the next thing you know, on Monday, you can start making a profit on it with not a huge amount of investment. And so I think I'd be concentrating on that
Yep.
right now. And that's what I hear you say. So let's talk about this. What has really driven you and kept you sane and your peace of mind intact and your spirit intact during your toughest seasons?
First thing, my relationship with Jesus Christ. That's my first, and but other than that, my family, my wife is the strongest support system that I have. Uh,
Mm.
she's the one that tells me, I'm the overanalyzed person. Like, they always say, you have to be willing to take that chance. You have to, and that's how, successful people are built. You have to not be afraid of failure. She's really the one that when I doubt something, she's like, just go do it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna be fine. Everything you do, you're fine.
Uh,
So,
we're blessed men. You know that, my friend? We're blessed.
yes. The next thing is my customers, just the relationship, that I have with them. And then the other thing is somebody that tells me that I can't, because I'm gonna do it.
Mm.
And I had being that we're in a small town, I had a teacher who was also the city judge. And when I opened my shop 20 years ago, he came to me and said, "You're never going to make it." And since then, I've built 3 shops. And he came in 2 years ago and he said, "I got to tell you something, Mike." He goes, "I'm so sorry that I told you that you're never going to make it." And I said, "No, thank you." That's what kept me going. So,
I've been told that on many occasions myself, and especially when I was really young. And my faith, when I was a kid, when I was going through, man, a pretty our family went through some pretty tough times when I was in between 4 and 7, and I got involved with a club called the Good News Club, and I've never said that. I've never even talked about the Good News Club, and it was a faith-based club for kids, and it was ran by a couple that lived next door to us that were traveling ministers, and they worked for the Campus Crusade for Christ. He did full time, and he was really professional in our neighborhood. He'd like wear a suit. Like we didn't see that, right? And like he was just dressed nice and like I'm so thankful I had that baseline put in my soul, my life, because it's we're going to go right into my next question is how have you managed and created harmony between business, family, and all your personal stuff, and then keeping yourself as a man satisfied, and happy. How's that go down?
I'm taking suggestions. I don't know. That's tough. Like it is tough, and I try to set boundaries. Um, sometimes it's my wife that plans trips to places that don't have service. She's
That
kind of that route to make sure that, hey, you need to spend more time with your daughter. You need to do this. And it shouldn't come down to that, but I'm very grateful to have my wife kind of, directing me like, hey, that's enough. Like the other day I was, I'm always scrolling, answering questions that she goes, enough with the scroll time now, and she just kind of sets that boundary with me, for me. But so part of that's that. I rely on my team. If you put a great team around you, whether you're operating a detail shop or a large scale business, we all have team members. And maybe they can do some of the answering of the calls, or they can do the Facebook posts, or they can answer the Facebook posts, whatever it may be. So just relying on them. Um, and other than that, it's hard because we serve individuals, and I don't have all the answers, but I do know that like when you're in this industry, I think about when I was just starting out detailing, I did it after my job. So I did it at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And then you have the people that are running regular full-time businesses working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever it may be. So you have people calling you from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night because they're just different types of people in that industry. So somehow you have to find that balance and just realize, there's times instead of taking a phone call, I'll respond with a text quick just to see if it's an emergency or if you just need to schedule a call to talk about something. But that's one of that is a weakness of mine, especially running, three different businesses, companies, and it's just, it's tough.
So, here's a little message too, is what you constitute, not you, Mike, but people listening, what you constitute as an emergency, is the other person on their side going to constitute it as an equal emergency. So if you didn't prepare yourself and you're doing weekend work and something goes wrong, why didn't you reach out before you went and did the job? Because are you going to take and now put pressure on somebody that takes the weekends off?
Yeah.
And that can be pretty selfish. And so you need to think about that. And, I got a message from somebody this weekend and he was pretty upset because I didn't get back to him Saturday. And so matter of fact, I just responded to him. He's like, well, it's about time. And I said, I'm sorry, but we've got a 5-day course in here. I pay 100% attention to the students. I don't work on weekends. I'm sorry that you do, but I'm not here at anybody's beck and call. What can I do for you? And it was crickets.
Yeah. And that's, like if I text you, for instance, Rennie, I'm texting you just so I don't forget.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
at that point, I don't expect an answer for 5 days. It could be a day, it could be 2 days. I don't care because same thing. You're planning ahead, right? I mean,
Right. I
I'm
love
like,
it.
I don't need Rennie's answer right now. It's like I need to talk to Rennie within the next 3, 4, 5 days. And
I want it on my buddy's radar that we need to talk in the next week.
right.
And here's the other thing is everybody's got 24 hours in a day, right? Is man, just swing back around a couple days later. If you don't hear from somebody, just say, hey, man, just bump this up when you get a chance, when it's convenient for you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a great habit to learn. So, with that, oh boy, what keeps you grounded? What kind of mindset and habits keep you grounded? And for doing it and keeping you grounded, not just daily, but for, you've been in business for a long time. What's helped you out in that?
So again, a lot of it's my morning motivation. Every morning I get up, I do a post. It's called my Own It post. Been doing it for I don't know 7 years now,
Wow.
and it's as much for me as it is for the next person.
Hmm.
Uh, in fact, it was about 2 years ago. I had a couple people that were just having a bad day. One was my wife, and hopefully she's not listening, but. I remember one day she said, because she was just having a rough day, and she goes, not everybody can own it. And she was like the second person that said something similar within like a few days. So I quit posting. And I quit posting for, it was about a week. And all of a sudden, after a week, I had like 3 or 4 people contact me through Messenger. They're like, hey, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. Why? And they're like, you haven't been sending your posts out. And
Hmm.
I rely on them every day. It's the first thing I see when I wake up. And I was like, oh, so that is one of the first things that I do no matter what when I wake up. Other than that, I work out daily in the morning, listen to the motivation, pray daily. When I'm praying, for myself, my family, my businesses, everything, the people around me, for the industry, whatever it may be. And them are the things that every day they drive me and they just keep me kind of intact for the day, focused. So.
I like that. So these next three questions I think are the most important. What are young entrepreneurs often overlooking? What really matters most? What do you wish that the young entrepreneur could say to that's in you and believe me, if you're a young entrepreneur, the one thing that you haven't been is an old seasoned entrepreneur yet. We've been young entrepreneurs. So speaking of those young entrepreneurs, what are they overlooking that's really, really important?
A few things, cost of doing business. Whether it's the full cost of doing business, where's your break even point, knowing your numbers, um, evaluating your business, doing SWOT analysis on your business as your strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, um, knowing that burnout is real. That's a big
Mhm.
thing. Relationships, whether it be with your family or other companies. I don't know how many times, and I know you've probably seen this, Rennie. I'm not, I never tell somebody like, hey, use IGL and IGL only. I go out and find it, but these individuals, these young guys, and there's some of these older guys too. They go out and try everything that's new and flashy and everything else, and pretty soon
Mhm.
they're trying 20 different brands, and they want all 20 companies to give them some type of territory. And it's like you don't want, there's no loyalty at that point, right? So finding companies that you fit your core values of your company, your mission statement, and being loyal to them, they'll be loyal to you at that point. And again, it's not just one company. Find two or three, that's fine, but don't find 20. And basically what I'm saying is don't drink all the Kool-Aid. There's a lot of lies out there, and they're just going to try to get your money as fast as they can. And then there's a lot of good companies out there that are going to give you a product. But if it's too good, sometimes to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So
I'm seeing right now kind of a trend where before the manufacturers carried the detailers, and right now I'm seeing some companies really struggle with some moral and ethical
yeah,
situations.
yeah,
And I think it's actually reversed now to where even some of the big companies is their fan base is carrying them.
yeah,
And that's a slippery slope to get on. And, I always preach patience, right? Because, there's changes. We don't see what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, you could lose an owner. I mean, there's been fires, there's been deaths, there's been sales, there's been, transitions, all these different things. But, I hope that we can get back in the next year to where the companies are a little more, um, supportive of the
yeah,
industry, is a good way to do it. Now we've got, you guys are neck deep involved in everything we do. You're always so gracious to, help us out with Air Force One, and our party in Vegas has become a fundraiser,
yeah,
more than anything, and you guys are always involved in that. And, I love seeing that, but we've got to be very careful of those, the biggies in the industry of making sure that we're doing the right things for the
yeah,
right reasons. And
100%.
I
Yeah.
like that. So let's talk about that younger you. When you're in a really cool age, what's that younger you going to come up and give you a piece of encouragement? What would you say to that young you that to encourage you on?
Uh, Failing is normal. Take the chance.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
take care of your body and your mind, and never take any day for granted. Them are the big ones.
Yeah, because just because you're young doesn't get to be here. I got a bridge I cover over next to. It's kind of funny here in a week and a half. I'm going to go over that bridge where one of my really good friends was killed when we were 19 years old, and he was actually 18 still. I just turned 19, and I always talk to Mike. His name's Mike, and I just say, "Hey, Mike, forever young," and because he didn't get the chance to go out and live the life that so many of us did. Him and Robbie both, another good friend of mine that, their lives were snuffed out when they were so young, right? But yet both of them had extremely strong faith, and that gives, a lot of us peace, right? And then lastly, this is, I think, what really important question that I didn't think of asking you. Is there anything that I should have asked you that in reference to your journey in life and business?
Uh, you know, did you own the day? What is your win?
Mm.
I start off every day with our staff meetings when we go into our meetings, and before we ever go into the meeting, first thing we do is every person around the table, we ask, what is your win for today or for yesterday?
They don't have
Uh,
to be big wins either. They can be
oh,
small wins.
and it does not have to be work related. It's personal. It's company. It's
I
whatever it
like
may. Some people literally, I had one employee that came in, he's like, I had this happen, I had that happen. I really don't have an answer for you. I said, you're breathing though, right? And he said, yeah. I said, well, then that's your win. So whatever it is, there find something that, somebody always has something. Somebody is always worse off than your current situation. So find that win.
Yeah, you look at what our world's, you know I think news travels, we've always been kind of humans are an interesting species. Um, a lot's changed me just in the last 10 days. The way I view things and everything else, and some really in the last month. I don't know why. But there's just been if I told you, it's some things were really simplistic where I just had aha moments.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for those aha moments. None of them are bad. Um, Even with what some of our world, I've woke up and wanted to make it a better place, and I think you're much the same way. So, well, hey,
I had somebody today. I actually wrote a letter to somebody today, and I said the same exact thing what you just said is I can't explain it, but over the last month, I've felt different in my spirit and
mm,
how I think of things, how I'm reacting to things. There's something that's stirring that I don't even know what that is yet, but I can feel the same thing.
I've had some of my mentors that are older than me say it's age, and you're getting to the maturity level. I say this way too often. I'm show my emotions a lot more than I ever have in my life. There's a decade I didn't smile. It wasn't because I wasn't happy, but I wasn't the person I was supposed to be. I built the business up in this little micro, you know, empire because it is micro, if it's even that big, and comparative, but it's mine. It's Diane's. It's Oscar's. It's Becky's. It's the mafia. It's yours. It's all. We all help each other grow in one way or the other. Even the people that we don't have much respect for, if they've hung around for 30 years in the industry, they've done something to help us along. You hope, right? Right. But Oscar asked me this. I just said, man, the emotions. And he goes, why are you so comfortable now? I said, fine. I'm just finding that exactly that. I'm comfortable being, showing my emotions. And I think we owe it to my generation that brought me up through business and through life. They didn't show those emotions. They didn't tell me these things. They didn't tell me that overworking and stressing could really cause you some mental anguish and
Yeah.
some family issues that go along with it and some health issues that go along with it. That generation was built different, and I kind of, and it wasn't wrong. It was their timing in the world. And my grandma was part of that, and she brought me up, but she did say something to me every day that I've passed on. I'm not afraid to do. And that's, I love you.
Right.
That I carried with her, and it's thankful to her and my mom both, as they always taught me the value of love. So Mike, it's always great talking to you. And,
I appreciate it, sir.
we'll tag you on some stuff, and next week it's an exciting week here in Big Bear with having the APEX 5 day, and we're gonna have a good time. And thanks for coming on tonight. Tell Dustin we said hello, Joel. If you're listening, good job, buddy. Thanks for being a mentor to all of us. And
Right.
guys, have a good one. I know we're bringing a lot of information out. We're trying to play catch up. We took about 11 months off the podcast, so we're going to make up for those 11 months and give you guys a whole lot of valuable information. We hope if these things make an impact and we say something that helps you along, send me a message. That's why we do it. Sole reason why we do it. You can get a hold of Mike. Mike, how do they get a hold of you if they want to?
Yeah, so you can I'll give you my personal phone number, 715-512-1718. Or you can email me at mcarlin, so you can see the way my name's spelled there, mcarlin at iglcoatingsusa.com.
Mike, it's always good, man. Good seeing you, my friend. Keep smiling. Thanks for being an inspiration. I always enjoy our talks, man. I never gets old having a visit with you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.